What's going on, guys? Welcome to Barking for Balance, the podcast where we talk about dogs, but we can also talk about anything else that's meant to teach, inspire, and entertain. On this platform, we literally talk about everything and anything. Believe me, I go into rants, parlo siciliano. Yes, I speak Sicilian. I talk about really anything. My pet peeves. We talk about dogs. I talk about my pets, my dogs, other people's dogs, dog topics, whatever, literally whatever. Remember, it's all about balance. So we balance it out with all different kinds of topics. So any kind of topic you want to discuss, let me know, hit it in those comments and we'll get into it. So before we get started, if you have the pleasure of seeing this beautiful face, let me introduce myself. If you've seen this beautiful face before, you already know who I am. If you haven't, well, I am Pat the Pac-Man. I'm a dog behavior and rehabilitation specialist for Pac-Man to the Rescue, Canine Solutions and Coaching. What do? We don't train dogs. We train people. That is correct, because that's what it's about. It's about training people, not training dogs. We teach people about dog psychology, how to communicate dog language, how to cater to dog instincts, basically what they want, what they need, what they require in order to be happy, fulfilled, and well-behaved. Because at the end of the day, you shouldn't want a well-trained dog. You should want to be a well-trained dog lover, dog owner, whatever you want to call yourself, that has a dog that's not well trained, but that is happy, fulfilled, and well behaved. That should be your goal. And in order to do that, you need to be well trained in the psychology of the dog, in the communication of a dog, in dog needs, in dog instincts. And that's what we do. We teach you about that. So if you want to know more about it, write it down in those comments. I'll be glad to share more about it with you guys. Before we get started on some topics, if you have the pleasure of seeing this beautiful face on video, yeah, I'm a little humble too. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have fun. It's Barking for Balance. We have fun on this podcast. So, what I wanted to say, I lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? See, my beautiful face got me all confused. Okay, so what I was going to say is, if you have the pleasure of seeing this beautiful face on video, make sure you wag your tail on over, hit that like button. And as soon as you're done, slap upon that subscribe button. You do not want to miss not only the podcast, but also the other videos we got coming out. All the instructional videos, cool videos about different dog topics, all sorts of cool stuff. You don't want to miss out on that. Also, as far as the podcast is concerned, if you don't want to do it by looking at this gorgeous face over here, then you could just listen to it. And we also have it on all major podcast platforms. The links are down below. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any cool stuff. Today, I want to get into the topic of hunting. Okay, I'm going to give you my personal opinions on hunting. I know it's a controversial topic. Would love to hear your input on the topic of hunting as well. And I'll explain why I decided to talk about hunting. I'm also going to talk about dogs. Now, yeah, of course, dogs do hunt. Some dogs are bred to hunt. But a lot of dogs have, the prey drive and they kill animals, cats or birds. Like, I have Hannibal. Rabbits, squirrels, whatever. So it's not like they're hunting. They're more just, doing it at this high level of prey drive. And especially if you have like small creatures or a multi-species household like I do, you want to make sure that those instincts in your dog are not triggered. It's very, very important you don't let that happen, because that puts those poor animals in danger or other people's animals in danger. You really don't want that to be the case. So we're going to talk about how to avoid that, how to make sure that doesn't happen. And the reason why I wanted to get into these topics of dogs that have this high level of prey drive, because I actually have some cases this week that deal with that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, it was, very dangerous cases, very dangerous situations in the household that caused all sorts of problems. So we're going to try to fix them. We're going to try to repair that. And as far as the topic of hunting is concerned, personal hunting, the reason why I wanted to bring this up, no, I'm not going to go hunting. And that's actually the reason why I wanted to put it out there, is because on the last podcast, I talked about my hobby, one of my favorite hobbies, which I do to relax, to unwind, to de-stress, and that is archery. I shoot a bow and arrow because the hobby of archery is so relaxing, unwinding, zen like. It's just awesome, and I just really, really enjoy it. So when I was talking about that, I had some rescue associates and animal lovers and clients that are major animal lovers. They sent me some text messages and some messages, and they were like, Pat, are you a hunter? Do you hunt? And so I want to clarify that right now. No, I do not go hunting for animals. I do not kill creatures like that. No. What I use archery for, my bow and arrow is used to hit inanimate objects, unless by some unforeseen circumstance, a animal abuser, a dog fighter, a child molester might get in the path of that arrow. Listen, it ain't my fault. You know what I'm saying? Hey. Anyway, let's move along from that one there. I don't want to incriminate myself, but yes, I only use archery for target shooting. I shoot targets. I shoot, 3D type targets, which I enjoy more than just the regular bullseye type targets. That's what I use it for. I use it purely because of the mental aspect of it. It's very relaxing. If you guys do archery, I would love to hear your way of describing the hobby of archery and how you feel when you're shooting that arrow, and how you feel when you're holding the bow, and the whole process. But to me, it's just a very relaxing atmosphere. So a very relaxing activity. So that's why I use it. So no, I do not go hunting. I will never go hunting because it's not something I like. It's not something I agree with. So as far as hunting is concerned, I think hunting is freaking stupid. Now, let me be clear on this part. If you're a hunter that goes hunting for the purpose of eating what it is that you're hunting, I have no problem with that. That to me is actually, that makes sense. That is something that I will never argue over, and I will never question. I have no issue with that whatsoever. I don't hate people that do that, because they're doing it for a reason, which is, quite frankly, just the way nature works. I mean, we have predators that hunt other animals. That's just how nature works. And I mean, we are predators. So even dogs, I mean, dogs eat meat. They're not vegetarians. So in the wild, they hunt. We got wolves, we got eagles, even in like the ocean, the water environment, it's not like a shark comes out of the oceans and stops by Burger King, or gets like a bucket of French fries, or they eat each other. I mean, it's the world. I mean, I know some people don't want to hear it. Hey, così è fatto. So you understand it, accept it. That's how it is. So I get that, and I'm okay with that. I have no problem with that issue. What I have a issue with is these people that go hunting for fun, for sport, to hang out rinoceronte, tigre, the tiger, and the head of this and the head of that, and to stuff that. What, I don't understand the point of it. And if you guys have a clear understanding and explanation to make me see why, okay, I would love to hear it. So please write it in those comments. Let me know. But I just don't get it. Why would you want a dead carcass in your, like, what's next? Your spouse dies, and because you don't want to let him go, you want to stuff him and mount him on the wall. I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. Like, your child's goldfish dies. What do you stuff it so they could, they take it to bed with them like a stuffed animal? I just don't get it. I don't understand the point. If anything, if you're that insecure, cut off your balls, a pizza di palle in muro, cut off your balls, hang them on the wall. So it reminds you, oh, there they, you jiggle them every once in a while. I mean, I know this makes no sense to me. So the concept of hunting for fun is just absurd. It just makes no sense to me. And yes, I do know that dogs do kill, animals not to eat, but those are more instinctual, and we're going to get to that in a second. They're more instinctual, but the humans doing it is not instinctual. It's intellectual. They go out with the pleasure of doing it. They want to go do it. I just don't get it. I just don't understand. You're hiding, this all this bullshit, and you're hiding. And I see this when I go target shooting, all this stuff, because most of them, obviously the whole thing is catered predominantly towards hunters. And I see this shit, and I just don't get it. Explain it to me. Write it in those comments. Let me know if you have a clue about it. I would love to hear it. In Italy, when I was living in Sicily, because yes, I did Live in Sicily. For those of you guys don't know, I lived in Sicily for 7 years from the age of 10 to 17. And that's why Padro Siciliano, that's why I speak Sicilian. I want to keep that language alive. So there, I remember one particular case. We went out hunting. I was actually there. I was a kid, but I don't remember seeing any of that stuff. But I remember hearing the gunshots and being in that environment where they were hunting for rabbits. But then right afterwards, we ate the rabbits, So that whole principle, I understand. But mangiare, mangiamo, let's eat. I get that. But dogs, when they go hunting, they hunt because like there's hunting dogs that's their job, that's their that's what they're supposed to do. Now if people go hunting because you're trying to control an animal population that's going out of control, all right, but seriously, how realistic is that? Like when does that happen? um this is more for sport. It's more like me shooting a target. These people shoot animals because it's I don't know the psychology behind it. I don't get. So anyway, when I was living in Italy, yes, that's there's a certain level of respect for the animals. So in America, I feel like there's no respect for the animals, and it's a variety of different reasons. Like I feel purposely, I feel that most vegetarians or vegans or these animal advocates, the reason why they have a problem is not for the meat eating component, because I've heard a bunch of people that have turned vegetarians not because they don't want to eat the meat, it's because they want to protest the fact of how the animals are treated. And I get that. I totally understand that, because the way the animals are treated, they're treated that way for food. I'm sorry, for food. They're treated that way for money. It's money. And in America, money is the driving force to all this kind of stuff. So the animals are treated like shit for money. I soldi fanno bene la vista all'oibe. Money is everything. That's a Sicilian saying that means that money makes blind people see. I soldi fanno bene la vista all'oibe. So yeah, write that down, and then you could use it every once in a while. But it's true. So these animals are treated like a commodity, and the conditions are atrocious. And it's not just that, but it's also the way they're raised for us to be consuming them is because there's so much waste. You know, Again, and I'm not just talking about like Sicily or Italy. I'm talking about like other countries where mangiano tutto cose si mangiano. They eat every single part and they utilize every single part of those animals. So those animals are not being used for like a portion, and you're destroying a life, and you're just for like a piece of it. We used to eat, and we still do, every single component, like innards, and like I don't know, this may be discussed. I should turn to be lanzare, but like the skin and the feet and the innards and the brain and all that kind of stuff. And I apologize for those that are seeing this, and that don't like hearing this, but I feel that doing it that way um is respectful towards that animal's life. That animal's life didn't give its life away for just a piece of it. Then what the hell's the point? And so that's why I think in America there's so much animosity, is because like I remember when I was living there, my uncle, he had a farm. Giovanni since died and passed away. But when I was living there, he had all sorts of, he had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. I know how that sounded. But he, on this farm, he had some pigs, but he actually did. He had chickens, and he had pigs, and he had sheep, and he had cows, and all sorts of other animals that were meant for food, rabbits, all sorts of stuff. They were meant for human consumption. But the respect for those animals, again, nothing went to waste. Nothing was wasted. They weren't raised like crap. They weren't raised in terrible conditions. They were raised in a good way, and then used the whole thing. So I feel like that life was fulfilled with respect. you know they were treated with respect. In America, it's not the case, because food is just wasted. I don't want this, I don't want that, and if we don't learn to appreciate or respect food, then that life that gave its, that creature that gave its life for us to eat was wasted, because we're not showing appreciation. We're not showing respect towards that life. And I think that's really the problem, because again, the way like the supermarket, the mentality is, you have all this meat, all this flesh out there, and then you have all these restaurants and all these other things, and there's like so much need for this, but there's so much waste associated as well. So the lack of respect for food, and especially for animal food, needs to be really at the center of why, um if we understand that, if we understand that the respect for food and the appreciation for food is at the center of it, then I think like the relationship with those animals would be different. Now I understand, listen, some people are just animal lovers, they don't want to, I get that and I respect that. But I truly feel that a lot of vegetarians, a lot of people that are against the animal, eating or consuming animal byproducts, is because of the way the animals are treated, and I can't blame them. I completely understand, because like, again, if you go hunting like a deer, and because you like eating venison, okay, cool. I'm cool with that. I don't think there's a problem. But if you go hunting a deer just because you want the head hanging on your wall, pizza too. Hang your own head on the wall. I just, that makes no sense. So the respect for food is necessary, and I think like America has kind of like swayed off of that, because food is just not, it's too easy, it's not being seen as the value that it should be. Like when you, again, going back to like my uncle and sister, when you're raising these animals every day, you're feeding them and caring for them and taking care of them, and you see them evolve from like little babies, and you're involved in that. There's a lot of respect there. There's a lot going on, and I feel like that's really where you start to appreciate your food. And I don't know, that's just my opinion. I would love to hear what you guys think about that whole topic there. um Not just the hunting component, but also the way animals are treated, and just the meat component, and how you feel about that kind of stuff. So write those comments and let me know what your opinion on, because like when it comes to dogs, and like the cases that I had this week, those dogs, um, dogs will hunt and kill animals. Like the ones that I had that I was working with, that are killing, are not killing, or trying to kill the cats. They're doing this for fun. They're doing it not for fun. That's the wrong word. They're doing it because they're bored. So let's talk a little bit about what that means. Dogs that try to kill other animals. Yes, some dogs, like I said, are hunters. That's what their instincts are. But we also need to teach them to turn those instincts off, which normally that's easily done. But most dogs that kill animals, it's really done because they're bored, or let me phrase that, it's mostly because they're bored and highly excitable. So, like some cases, you have owners that think that dogs are supposed to kill other animals. So they instigate them. Like I have some cases where people will take their dogs like hiking, for example, and that's great. But the problem with the hiking component is that the dogs are walking, and you're out there for all sorts of time, an hour, 2 hours, whatever you're out there for, but it's not a structured walk. So that means that the brain never goes into a working state, a calm state. They go into an excited state because they're seeing stuff, they're smelling stuff, they're chasing stuff. So they're highly excited. And then a lot of people that have these kind of situations, they instigate it. They like, okay, go get him, go get this, go, oh, chase them, there's a squirrel, go get him. And now you're telling your dog that you want them, number one, to be excited, and number two is you want them to go after these animals. Now a lot of times, most of the time, dogs are pretty fast creatures, let's face it. So they'll get to those squirrels, those cats, or whatever, and once they get that, they don't know what to do with them, so they'll grab them, even if it's gently, just to like even like play, and they'll hurt them. That's just normal. So the first thing we have to understand is excitement. Excitement, as I say, is the root of all evil. you know Most, if not all, behavioral problems, including aggression, stem from a high level of excitement. So the brain builds with excitement, and then it just explodes because they don't have a productive outlet to release it. So you're taking these dogs on these long walks, which is great, but the walks are meant to drain the energy. The walks are meant, or the hikes or whatever, are meant to get rid of that pent up excitement, not to build it. These kind of concept, and again, the clients that I'm working with, they do exactly that: long walks, off leash, no structure, running around. So they're building, 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 building. And then they come home. And because they were told that I want you to chase small creatures, as soon as they see the cats in the house, they don't know the difference. The cats move, bam. I'm following what mommy and daddy want, and I'm going after them. So the key here is to understand that the excitement levels have to come down. They have to be dropped in order to not let them release that in a fashion that's unproductive. If you take your dog on a 2-hour hike or 1-hour hike, and it's a very um, productive walk or hike, they're going to come home, they're going to relax. They're not going to have any desire to chase after anything because they're so exhausted. And a lot of times these kind of dogs are like cattle dogs. In fact, the ones that I'm working with that we're talking about, cattle dogs, herding dogs, because their jobs are so specific that they're finding an outlet to release that pent up excitement, those pent up energy and those instincts, which we're going to get to in a second. Because, you know, when it comes to dogs, you got to understand that they want to please us. So whatever we ask them to do, they're going to do. And again, a lot of people believe that that's what dogs do. I hear this a lot. Well, dogs are supposed to kill. No, they're not. Look, I got 2 dogs, multi-species household, cats, birds. There's no danger. There's no danger of any kind, shape, or form. And that's because their energy level is dropped, and also because of the fact that they understand that they're not toys, they're pack members. So when we're talking about like the excitement levels, so one area that triggers that kind of excitement is like with the way they play with their toys. So like those squeaky toys that have like the little squeaker inside of them, that squeaker is meant to resemble the sound of an animal in pain and or dying. So when they squeak it and they hear it and they get really excited, and they're like, oh, excited. That's what builds it up. So they get that sound gets them excited, which of course, if you listen to one of our other podcasts where we talk about how dogs associate behaviors or activities with the state of mind that they're in, they're associating that particular sound with that state of mind, which is excitement. So they get more excited the more of that sound they hear. The other part of it is the way they're playing when they're like, shaking their head back and forth. That's basically killing the toy. So that kind of motion creates a lot of excitement, makes the sound squeak, and it's like that's their activity. They're killing the toy. So, they're not eating the toy, but they're still killing it. They're not eating the cat or the squirrel, but they're still killing it, because that's how they get rid of some of that excitement. But the problem is that they're actually not getting rid of that excitement, because the more they do it, the more excited they become. And I want to hear if you have an experience or know somebody that's been in this position, because the more they do that, the more excitement they build, which means the next time that they go after the cat or the squirrel, they do it more intensely. Their intensity is much higher because they're actually building excitement every single quote unquote kill that they have, because the association is just growing. Does that make sense? So if you guys want to know more about this, let me know. We'll talk about this more in depth. But that's basically the bottom line, is that high level of excitement. So when you're taking them out on these long walks, they have to be productive walks. You have to be in control of those walks. You have to make sure that the walks are draining energy, not building energy. I always use example, like if you go to the gym and you're there for 2 hours and you do an exercise, and then you play with your phone for 10 minutes, and then you do another exercise, and then you're talking to so and so for 15 minutes, and then you do another exercise and you're watching the TV for 10 minutes. Yes, you're at the gym for 2 hours, but you're not exercising, you're not working for 2 hours. So that entire time that you're doing something, you're not doing anything productive. And the same thing applies when it comes to these kind of activities, which are excitement driven activities. And excitement driven activities don't drain energy. They don't teach anything. They build energy. They build it. They're unproductive. Okay. Guys, any questions on that? Please let me know. So that's the excitement component of it. The other component of it is, most of the time these dogs are bored, right? So they're not fulfilled, meaning that, they're bored because they're not fulfilled. So like we're talking about the herding dogs, the cattle dogs, those dogs have specific tasks, right? That's specific jobs, which obviously they're not being fulfilled, because right? There's no sheep and cattle around, so they're not doing what it is that they need to do in that particular case. So they find a different way to do their job. These dogs want to work. They need something to feel productive, to feel fulfilled, So they find the job that makes them feel that. It's not a productive one, but by their standards, it is, you know. The problem with doing that is that if we don't give them something productive to do, they're going to figure something productive to do, right? That's the problem. So we go back to like the walking or the hiking, whatever you want to call it. The fact that you're doing it is great, but that does not fulfill their instincts. But what does fulfill their instincts is the fact that they found something that you want them to do. So you have asked them and excited them enough to say, okay, now I want you to chase that squirrel. Now I want you to chase that cat, or whatever the case may be. And they start chasing. So they're already building up with excitement. You're telling them, this is what I want you to do. So now they're anchoring the two together and the excitement grows, but so does the behavior. Because again, they want to please us. So they're going to do what you ask. Right? You tell them to do something, they're going to do it. So the boredom factor is a problem because even if you don't want them to do it, they find something to do. And some dogs just go that direction. So, not letting a dog be bored. And we have to make sure that on top of that, we have to establish direction, bounds, and limits. You have to be in control of, for example, that walk. Off leash, you're not in control. They're doing their own thing. There's a TV show called Mom. And I watch it. It's kind of funny. If you haven't watched it, you should watch. If the farrirer it, you know. It's pretty funny. And there's a character on there. Her name is Tammy. She was actually in jail for a while. And then she comes out of jail. And, you know, in jail, she obviously had structure, she had discipline, she had a regimen, rituals, processes, procedures, expectations, the whole bit. She gets out of jail and she's free, right? But the problem now is that she has nothing to do. Nobody will hire her. She's home alone. She's living with some friends or whatever. And, they're going to work, they're doing a thing, but she's bored. She's got nothing to do. She doesn't know what to do with herself. There, she was told when to wake up, when to work, what job to do, when to go to sleep, when to eat, how long she had to eat. Like everything was very structured. So she had directions, boundaries, and limits. See what it boils down to? So now she's got nothing to do. She has no job, doesn't know what her expectations are, doesn't know what her role is within society, within the household, whatever the case may be. So she's just getting frustrated. She's just bored and frustrated. And she starts to become a little destructive. She's kind of like reverting back to her old ways that got her in trouble in the first place, much like dogs do. See the pattern? So what happens is that just out of coincidence, somebody asks her to do some repair work, like some, I don't know, like handyman, home repairs type stuff, which she actually was trained in prison to do. So it was something that she was familiar with, something that she enjoyed doing, something she was good at. So she starts doing some of this repair work, and she starts doing more and more and more of it. So the more she's doing this repair work, the more she's doing something productive, the more she's doing something that makes her feel fulfilled. See what I'm talking about? That's the road. You see the road we're on, how it works? That's the pattern. So she starts doing more work, something that she's skilled at, something that she likes. She's getting more structure. She's not bored, meaning she's not frustrated, meaning she's fulfilled. She's starting to now finally get out of trouble. She's not causing any trouble because now she has a path, right? She has directions, bounds, and limits. She has a job. She has something that's going to keep her mind and her body occupied, that's going to drain all that pent-up anxiety and all that pent-up energy. So this is the equivalent of why dogs become a pain in the ass, as a lot of clients just call them. This asshole this and this asshole that. I hear that all the time from clients that complain about, I hear that all the time. They're always complaining. That's what they're saying. My response is always, your dog's bored. Your dog's frustrated. You think you're frustrated. You know what I mean? So we go back to the same principles of mental and physical stimulation. We go back to the same principle of lowering the intensity of the excitement, controlling the intensity of the excitement, not letting it escalate. Because once it escalates and it stabilizes at a high level, that's your starting point. And then it just skyrockets from there. We want to bring it down, bring it at a low level, bello vascio vascio, low level, and then we could control it from there. So we manage the excitement. So then we anchor the opposite of excitement, which is calmness. We anchor calmness to activities, and now we have no problems. Me capisce? Me senti? Sto pataricchie. You understand what I'm saying? Unclog your ears. Sto pataricchie. You see what I'm saying? It's that simple. So if we understand those two principles of fulfilling the brain and the body through mental and or physical stimulation, making sure that we keep the excitement level low and anchoring that to behaviors or activities, calmness equals whatever, as opposed to excitement equals whatever, then everything is cool. So, we don't want, your dogs won't see like small creatures. Remember, Socks over here is 75 pounds. When I've had cats and I've had kittens in this house that were like a pound, little bitty things like this big. There was no issues. Socks's foot, his foot alone was bigger than some of these cats that have been in this house. And there's never been a problem because of the fact that his excitement level is very low. When he's around those cats, is super calm. That's what he was taught, you know? That's how I wanted it to be. Now, it doesn't mean when those cats want to play, he can't get involved, but he's got to maintain that calmness. He said, Rosso, he's big. These cats are small. We got to match it up. We have to match the intensity, not with the size, because at the end of the day, it's not the size that matters. It's the intensity of the brain that matters. Does that make sense? What do you guys think? Let me know what you think about that topic right there in that situation. If you had any experience about that, I would love to hear your input on it. So it boils down to the same thing. If you want your dog to kill, they're going to kill. If you don't control the intensity of the excitement, they're going to release it somehow, because you can't expect that buildup, that boom, 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 to just continue with no outlet, with no way to release it. They will make up their own way, because some dogs bark, some dogs chew, some dogs dig, some dogs chase, some dogs jump, some dogs run, some dogs bite, some dogs attack, some dogs kill the squirrels. They'll figure out their own way. They'll figure out their own way, number one, to get fulfillment, and number two, to release the excitement. It's what it boils down to. So, mettetelo no vedo, excitement, keep it low. Number two, fulfill the brain and the body. It's not that complicated, and you don't necessarily have to go on 2-hour walks or 2-hour hikes to get that done. It's not really necessary, because if you do it the right way, and if you guys want to hear more on how to get that done, write it down in those comments and let me know, and we'll talk more in depth about that. But the bottom line is that that's the reason, or one of the reasons why small creatures are in danger. Is, remember, you're telling them what you want them to do. You're also making them the way that they are, in order to, and then to release it, they just fulfill your wishes. You say kill, I go after them. I don't want to, but I'm excited. I got to do something. So monitor if you have dogs that are in those situations. Open up your eyes and keep an eye on certain things, such as the way they're playing. Are they shaking those toys violently? That's an indication. High level of excitement, high level of intensity, prey drive, whatever the case may be. Maybe there's some aggression issues. Maybe you have blinders on. You have you don't want to see it, but maybe there's some other type of problem. Maybe they're jumping the fence. Maybe they're digging the yard, whatever the case may be. Again, the way they're killing the toys, the way they're shaking it, the way they're like just so intense and they're so into it, those are signs of having a problem. So yeah, that's really it. So if you guys have any questions on these topics of hunting, again, we'd love to hear your opinion on this hunting crap. And explain to me why you got to hang the head of an animal. I just don't get it. Anyway, or just stuff them. I don't know. That baffles me, but tell me what you think. Listen, I'm a meat eater, but I hate the way that animals are treated. Love to hear some opinions about the vegetarians and what led you guys to become vegetarians, because I have respect for the fact of why you're doing it. Unfortunately, like I said, it boils down to that boils down to money, and that's really one of the problems. But I hate the way animals are treated too, as far as like the hunting is concerned. Listen, if you're hunting for food, it's cool, but make sure that it's not for stupid reasons. And bottom line, let's make sure that our dogs aren't hunting for fun. I mean, we could at least control that, and we monitor the intensity of the excitement, and we monitor the fact that we give them a job and we give them fulfillment. And on some of the other podcasts, some of our videos, which is why I want you guys to subscribe to the YouTube channel, so this way you could look into some of the videos that we're putting out on how to fix some of these problems, how to learn how to understand the psychology of a dog, and by doing so, you'll be able to make them happy, fulfilled, and well behaved by catering to their instincts and catering to their needs and providing them what it is that they want and need and desire first and foremost before they provide you what it is that you want and need and desire. But you guys have any questions, let me know. I would love to hear some stories about your situations and about your needs, that how I could help fulfill and inspire and teach. Again, living in Sicily was a great experience for me because it taught me so much. And when it comes back to the fact of understanding fulfillment, life, it was just so much different because, you know, everything was just so simple and easy. There was no complications. And it was just a much more relaxing environment. So that's why I'm trying to find myself activities that kind of bring me back to that state of mind, because life is in America it can be stressful when we focus on the wrong things. So I kind of like try to find activities such as archery. And just to repeat that in case you missed the beginning, I do not use it for hunting. Un baia caccia io, niente caccia, and no hunting. But yeah, so anyway, any questions, let me know. Write them in the comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe. And at the same token, remember, it's about training people, not training dogs. So let's take care of our dog's mental state before we take care of their physical state, meaning that focusing on the brain, not the body, as I say, more than just obedience commands and trick or treats and treats and this and that and the other thing. Focus on the mental state that your dog is in, not what the body's doing. Whether they're sitting down, laying down, or whatever, when you do them, what state of mind that they're in. Pay attention to that. Ask yourself that question when you're observing their behaviors that they're doing. Even if it's something that you're trying to calm them down, like, I don't know, entering or exiting a door, and you're trying to, go first, and you're okay, sit, and then you're looking at him like, what kind of state of mind is he in? And you be on it. Like, you have common sense. You look at him, this dog's not relaxed. And that there's a problem with that. So cater to the brain, the intensity of the excitement, the intensity of what they're feeling, from an emotional standpoint. Monitor your own energy. How do you feel? That's the questions that I always tell my clients that they have to ask themselves and be honest about it. How do I feel? And then when you're looking at your dog, like, how do they feel? They don't look calm. I don't feel calm. Well, there you go. There's your answer. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Barking for Balance. Any questions, like I said, write them in those comments down below. Remember, it's about training people, not training dogs. Catch you guys next time. Pat the Pac-Man.